We are already in our fourth day of Sfirat Omer. We're finishing the third, but Bezrat Hashem tonight we're going to go into the fourth day of Sfirat Omer. We're in the week of Chesed, the week of love. We spoke briefly the last couple of days about Chesed Shebechesed, Gvura Shebechesed, and Tiferet Shebechesed. We're going to continue on the same path of love in our life. Today we're going to be counting Netzach Shebechesed. Now, just to explain what Netzach is, now is not the right time. Some people think or they interpret Netzach as victory. And there's another way of explaining Netzach, which comes from the word in Hebrew, Nitzuach. Nitzuach, when you have in a symphony a conductor, he's called a menatzeach, a conductor. So there's ways to explain the Sfira of Netzach as victorious. Today we're going to concentrate more on a different aspect of Netzach, which comes from the word in Hebrew, Nitzuach. So if we need to title Netzach Shebechesed, if you remember I told you a couple times that when we're mentioning these names of the Sfirot, there are very few people that can actually really relate and understand what does it really mean, Netzach Shebechesed. We need to take simple terms to relate with it. So the simple term of Netzach Shebechesed is the art of loving. Some people think that love is just, I was born with it, I know how to love people. So unfortunately, most people, they have love for other people. They don't know how to share it. They don't know how to give it. Sometimes it comes in a completely wrong way. So even to love, there's art in loving. In everything you can be artistic and you can just know how to do it. Or you don't know how to do it. But nevertheless, the way how you show love, that's an art. And Netzach Shebechesed, this is the art of love. Another way of defining it would be saying love with control. Because if you don't have control of your love, then the love can be very damaging and chas v'shalom work against you. Many parents, they love their children a lot. They want to give them a lot of love. They spoil them. They don't give them the right tools. They want to give so much, and instead of giving with gvura, with restrictions, they just pour love on them, and it doesn't mean that it necessarily is good for the child. And that can be in many relationships. So, Chesed, the Netzach Shebechesed, we're going to title it as the art of love. And another way to approach it is love with restrictions, or love more, I wouldn't say actually restrictions, more with control. How do you control your love? Now, a very important thing that we need to understand that every day of Sfirat HaOmer, we're doing a certain tikkun to our nefesh, a rectification to our nefesh. And every day of my life I have to do a tikkun for the nefesh. But specifically on Sfirat HaOmer, there are auspicious times in the calendar, in the year, when we are more able to do things. So from Pesach to Shavuot, it's a time when I'm able to reach to a very deep level of a rectification of my nefesh. This is one thing what I spoke about yesterday. We need to strive to all our life is how do I reach to a tikkun that my nefesh will be rectified before it goes up to Shamayim. First of all, it came here already with some bumps and some dents from previous incarnations. Then in this life, I caused a few other bumps, and this is my term, of course. This is not, sometimes you have a car, and the car has so many bumps and dents on it, and the car is like completely trashed and demolished. So also our nefesh, here we lie, here we cheat, here we say a wrong word, here lashon hara, all sorts of little things. It causes these dents or bumps. Really what it causes is called a blemish, a pgam. But for us to relate with, imagine a nice car that has all sorts of bumps in it. Who wants to have a nice car and full of dents in it? So I need to be constantly aware, how do I reach to this tikkun in my nefesh? Most of the problems that we have, emotionally, mentally, physically, and so forth, is coming from problems in the nefesh. It's not coming from the environment. And that will include depression and sadness and all sorts of other mental or emotional imbalances. And it can be depression and lack of sleep or whatever it is. Everybody has some type of what's called machalat nefesh, a sickness or a pagam in the nefesh, and it needs to be rectified. Hypothetically, if a person is not sinning at all and he did shuvah for previous lives, then he shouldn't have any issues. He just need to go through the tikkun of the life. So during Sfirat Omer is a very powerful time to do tikkun for the nefesh. And the tikkun of the nefesh in the sfira of Netzach shebechesed is specifically the power that I can control. I'm going to soon change the word to control, rather to conduct, but I don't know if it's so correct in English. In Hebrew, it fits much better. In Hebrew, you would say lenatzeach, which a conductor of a symphony, he's kind of conducting or controlling how the sounds are going to be playing. So I don't know if it sounds as good as it should in English. In Hebrew, that's the right way of saying it. And you can be a menatzeach, a conductor, not only on a band. You can be a commander in an army. It's also called a menatzeach. Or some leader of a group, or he knows how to lead everybody to make it very efficient. So in Hebrew, it makes much more sense, at least to me. I mean, my English is not that academic, but in Hebrew, it will be called hakoach lenatzeach al melechet ha'avodah, the power that allows me to have control over my mission in love. And love, of course, we're talking here chesed. In order for me to show kindness, has coming from a place of love. It's not coming from any other place. Now, what is this power that I have in my soul to be able to control, so to say, love? Is to learn how to reach to the balance. Remember yesterday we spoke about balance. Everything has to be balanced. If there's no balance in anything in your life, then the person is imbalance, and that's something that we want to avoid. We want to reach to a level of balance. So the power of Netzach Shebachesed is to allow me, to teach me how to reach to a balance in the way how I'm expressing the love that's inside of me. And again, most people, how I see it at least, they don't know how to express their love. Usually it will come with parents to kids. And they can love the child dearly, but they don't know how to express it. Why? Can be many, many different reasons why, which is less relevant right now. But it's not only with a child and a father and a child. It can be also between a husband and wife. I know many husbands, they love their wife dearly. They don't even know how to once say a nice word. Or to tell their wife, she looks pretty today, or thank you for doing so much hard work, or whatever it is. And it's not that they don't want to. They don't have the tools. There's no school to how to express love. So now we want to focus on today, on Netzach Shebechesed, is how do I not only control my love, is how do I bring it out in the right way, how I express my love in an external way instead of keeping it inside of me. Because I can love a lot of people and never tell them that I love them or admire them or think positive about them. If I go throughout my life and my child doesn't know that I love them, something wrong with me, not with my child. Same thing with my wife, same thing with any other person. It's not. I know it might sound sometimes a scary word, and a lot of people are afraid to say, I love you, because you don't know what will be the reaction. But, there's nothing wrong with me telling a friend, I love you. I mean, you're my friend. I'm not loving you. Don't think I'm now, but I love you. So, the power of Netzach Shebachesed is a power to teach me how to be able not only to control the love, is how to bring it to a balance that I know when to give it out and how to express myself the right way and when to hold back. Now, the easiest way to understand it is we all have love in our hearts for many different things. And I'm not talking about that you love ice cream or you love cookies. That's not the love that I'm talking about. Then the love that I have towards somebody else. No, because a lot of people say, oh, I love a lot of things. So the love, if I have love for ice cream, I don't love the ice cream. I love the pleasure that it gives me. It has nothing to do with the ice cream. Same thing with many other things. I don't love the ice cream. There's a famous Hasidic quote that I don't remember from where it came from, but nevertheless, it goes as along the line as that somebody's sitting and eating fish, and he tells him, do you love the fish? Oh, I love fish. No, you don't love the fish. If you would love the fish, you would leave him in the ocean. You love the pleasure and the taste that it gives you, so you eat the fish. You don't love the fish. But nevertheless, I'm not talking about love that I have towards something. I'm talking about love that I have in my heart. I have love for my kids, I have for my parents, love for my friends, and so forth. The only problem is that most people don't know how to really show that love. And they think, oh, if I love, you must know automatically that I love you. So, many years ago, my wife told me, you never tell me that you love me. I said, well, you know that I love you. Nothing changed from the day of the wedding. I mean, it's the same. Yeah, but I need to hear it. What do you mean to hear it? Maybe I'll write on the wall, I love you, and that's it. I don't have to say it over and over. No, you have to say it all the time. I said, okay. In my mind, I was like, the fact that I know that I love you. It doesn't help her that I know. I need to know how to show it. And to buy flowers is not always showing that love. So I need to know how to show my love. And again, it can be between a husband and wife, can be between a parent and a child, can be between even me and a friend. Here it's where it comes a little bit tricky because people think that I'm going to look like weird if I come up to my friend and tell him I love you. So you don't necessarily have to come and say, I love you. Sometimes it's the expression of the love. It doesn't have to be with words. It can be in many other ways. Now, when I was saying that the netzach of Chesed is the art of loving, the art here is to know how to do it in a balanced way. You can't tell your wife 10 times a day, I love you, I love you, I love you. She's like, okay, I got the point. You don't. It doesn't even sound convincing. And once a month also is not good. It has to be a good balance. And like I said before, it's not always about how you say things. It's sometimes what you do. Sometimes what you do shows the love. And it can be consideration, can be thoughtful, can be many other things that the person says, okay, this is done only out of love. It's not done in any other way. So the art in love is to have the right balance, of course, because sometimes you need to know when saying, no, there's not going to be any love today. This comes to more action when you deal with your kids. I'm sure the ones of you who have the experience of raising kids, sometimes the kid doesn't feel your love. Just today, my parents came to visit us. We went with my parents to get ice cream. And one of my kids says, I want another round. I says, no, one is enough. Why can't I get another ice cream? Because you already had one. You don't love me. You're right, I don't love you. So for a 5-year-old, I don't love him, so I didn't give him ice cream. Right? But because I love the child, you had enough. You don't need more. You had some taste on your mouth. You tasted the ice cream. That's it. You don't have to stuff yourself. So in the eyes of the child, in that moment, I don't love him. And that's how sometimes kids say to the parents, you don't love me. Okay, that's what you think. So I need to know the balance. When am I showing the love? When am I giving the love? And when, no, today there's not going to be any love giving here right now. And again, I'm just giving examples. Usually I like giving examples from my own life because I feel that's the right, the most accurate. You take the idea and you mold it into your life. How you need to know how to balance how much you're showing and how you're giving that love. Now, like I told you, there's many people that they have a lot of love in them and they don't know how to show it, how to give it. And not only that, even when they want to give it over, they don't know how to express themselves the right way. So it comes out completely wrong. And then the one on the other side doesn't really see any love there. So the power of love needs some type of a mechanism of how you control it. And the word in Hebrew for that is called vasat. I don't know if it will fit well in English. I think in English you call it a dimmer. That you control how much light will be. So dimmer I think is just for lights. In Hebrew the word vasat is for anything. Is how much, it's like a valve, how much you give and how much you stop. So in Hebrew it's called levaset. I know how much I can give right now. And it can be emotions, can be money, can be control, whatever it is. So the power of love has to have a mechanism on it of a sort of a valve or a dimmer. How much I'm controlling, how much I'm giving, how much I'm not giving. And to know how to control the love. Most people actually, when they are overwhelmed with feeling of love, they don't know how to control it. To a point that sometimes the love can be very destructive to the relationship. Because a person, you see sometimes in between a man and a woman, one loves the other so much, they're choking the person. Can't go, you can't do this, you can't see, you can't do this, don't talk with him, why are you talking? It's like the love is already too much. Why? Too much love is being poured out. It's not done from evil. Just the person doesn't know how to control their love. And again, that can be for many other things. Again, I'm giving you just type of examples. I'll give you another example. Some people, they have a love and they're very generous, very giving, very charitable. And they don't have control of how much they're giving. And they're just giving. I had a friend like that. All day long, he bought me presents. I was like, listen, you don't have to spend so much money. I mean, you don't even have so much money. And he's like, no. That was his nature. And I had to literally tell him, listen, it's too much. I'm telling you as a friend. But sometimes people are very, very generous. And they pour on you generosity. And this, again, has to have some type of a control. This is exactly Netzach Shebachesed, that I know how to conduct, so to way. I was using the word a dimmer or a valve, but it's what a conductor does. He controls when, how, and what, but when it comes to love. And like I told you before, Netzach comes from the word in Hebrew nitzachon. Nitzachon means a victory. And usually when you have the victory, it also will come along a line of conquering. Because when you're victorious, it means that you conquered something. If it's an army, that you conquered the land of the enemy. Or whatever type of a battle that I had, I was able to conquer it. Like the Mishnah says, Ezu Agibor, Akovesh et Yitzro. Who's a hero or a brave individual that he's able to conquer his Yetzer. So Netzach, we can explain it, like I said, as nitzachon, as victory, or to conquer. But there's another way of explaining it, and like I told you before, this is a little bit more correct grammatically, that netzach comes from the word in Hebrew nitzuach. And nitzuach means to conduct, like a conductor in a symphony. So nitzachon, that would be victory, and usually that's over a war. If you win, must have been a war there. It doesn't have to be a war in the battlefield. It can be in a courthouse. And it can be in a game. But, nevertheless, there was a war here. Nitzuach is art. That's already art. You know, I'm sure when you're looking at a conductor going like that, you're like, what is he doing there? Did he go to a special school for 5 years to know how to do this? I can do this too. What's the big deal? But nevertheless, there's something behind there. I don't know anything about being a conductor. I'm sure there's art behind it, and a lot of knowledge, and a lot of harmony. I'm sure there's something behind it, unless some guy just going there and getting paid a lot of money.
You have to read it as well.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. There's an art behind it. So when we're looking at the word netzach as nitzachon, as victory, this is war. Nitzuach, that's already art. Somebody told me not too long ago in one of my trips, Baruch Hashem, in the trips, I don't know most of my followers or students. Thousands online. I don't know who they are. And many people come to me, I've been watching your videos for 5 years. Good, very nice to meet you. So somebody came to me not too long ago in one of my trips and told me, you are my favorite rabbi. I listen to you all day long. And then he tells me I have two favorite rabbis, you and Rabbi so-and-so. And I said, good, very nice. He's like, do you know him? I said, no, I don't know him. I never met him. I don't learn Torah online. So he told me, oh, I love you both. And I said, good. And he tells me, there's only a difference between you and him. And I was like, okay, what's the difference between me and your other favorite rabbi? He says, you both give the message the same way, just that he is a butcher and you are a surgeon. And I was like, okay. He's like, he just like cuts. You come quietly, you make your surgery there, you cut everything, but you don't make it so painful. And I was like, look what a nice, funny analogy. So you have here the same thing with Netzach and Nitzuach. Netzach is a surgeon, is a butcher. It's like a war, you win the war. But Nitzuach, it has to come with art. And art, anybody can put a canvas now on the wall and start throwing some paint over it. I can also do that. I don't know what's going to come out of it. But take now an artist, they know how to move their hand the right way. I will never be able to do that. Why? Because this is not my art. I don't know how to do it. Nevertheless, I'm sure that if you give me a canvas and some paint, I will do something on the canvas. Probably will look like my 3-year-old paintings she brings from school. But nevertheless, everything in this world has to have some type of art. So when we're going back to Netzach Shebachesed, this will be the power in me that I can control or lenatzeach, to conduct or to have this stamp of a valve over the love that is in me, to know how much I'm giving, how much I'm not giving, when am I giving, how much of what, and I know not to give the love the wrong way. And in most cases, that's the problem of most of us, that it's not given when it should be given. And one example, again, I can only give you an example from my own life. You take it and you relate with it to your own life. Many, many years ago, and up until today, I decided I don't want to have an office. I rather work at home, because anyways, my family barely sees me. Even though if I'm working, but they still see me, and I'm at home, I love my private place. So what happens is, many times my kids will be walking in and out and in and out. They come home from school. So maybe some of you can relate with it, that sometimes I'm in the middle of something and my little kid will come and just walk in and start talking, or pull my hand, or want to show me something. Sometimes, because you're so focused on what you're doing, you shoo the kid off. Or you scream to the kid, no, now I'm busy. And it's totally human, because you're now focused on something. And you never know, sometimes the kid just needs 1 minute with a smile. Yes, well, what do you need? Oh, it's very nice, thank you so much. And the kid goes off. And I see it with myself how many times a kid, one of my kids, and I'm talking about the young ones, not the older ones, they will come with some toy, some 4 pieces of Lego that they put together, and for them it's like building a satellite, and they just wanted to show it to me, or something small. And I see how sometimes the nature is to shoo the child off, or to scream, or to raise the voice, I can't, be busy now. And I always see that if I just give the child that 3 seconds, 15 seconds, 1 minute of attention, the child got such a dose of love, and in the right way, that I don't even have to spend so much money on it, or to spend a whole hour to take the child to the playground or buy him things. Sometimes it's just an injection of 15 seconds, and it can mean not only with the child. I'm giving you an example with my child, but it's in any situation. I have love for that individual. How am I giving it over? Sometimes I can ruin it completely. And most people, the entire personality is dependent on how their parents treated them throughout most of their life as a child. Whether they come very closed, or very angry, or very frustrated, or very open, or very confident. So, and again, I'm just giving you an example with a relationship between a child and a father. You take the idea and you already mold it to however you can see fit in your life. So, again, Netzach Shebechesed is the power how to express this love. Now, practically saying, to have some homework, you choose a relationship that you have in your life. Doesn't matter right now with who. You choose the right person, And now you are going to become the conductor of this relationship. You can choose your wife, your husband, your kid, your friend, doesn't matter. But a relationship with somebody you love, of course. I'm not talking about some random person you see in the street. You choose somebody that you love in your life, that you feel that maybe needs a little bit of a touch-up in how you are expressing love to each other. And then you say, okay, now I'm the conductor. Now, what does it mean when I'm the conductor? When are the right moments for me to express the love, and when is the right moments for me to hold back? I choose now when the music is going to be played. Because a conductor, he has in front of him many types of instruments, and he will decide, now the trumpets are going, now the violins, and again, I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to a symphony. But nevertheless, same idea. I need to also know when I'm allowing the kli negina, the instrument, thank you, to play, and when not to play. And when is the right time to show the love, and when is the right time to, I don't need to, or the love has to be right now restricted. And by that you apply it practically into your life. When am I showing the love? When I'm not showing the love? And you know, sometimes it's the recipient that needs to see that you love them, and even if you're tired, you're busy, you're upset, you don't feel like it, like I said many times, it's not about you. It's about the one in front of you. Sometimes you're tired, you came home from work, or from a whole day of work, you don't have patience to your wife. And that's the moment she needs to hear, thank you so much, honey, for making such a beautiful meal. I really appreciate your hard work, whatever. So sometimes I have to be, not sometimes, I have to be sensitive to the one in front of me. If this is the moment right now that they need to get some love from me, or maybe not right now, they don't need to. And that's how I apply the power of Netzach Sheba Chesed in my nefesh. When I'm able to do that, that will bring me to a tikkun to my nefesh. And you just always have to think of the one in front of you. I know in any given moment, if I need to sit and think for a second, I know I love my kids. There's no question here. If you're going to go and interview them every day, I don't know if every day they're going to tell you, yes, I know my father loves me. Because one day I'll be upset. One day I'm not going to be so attentive to their needs. One day I'm not going to even be around. A 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 9-year-old, they don't even know what's going on in your mind. If I raise my voice, if I become very strict in something, they think that I hate them right on the spot. Because a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, even a 14-year-old, they don't know where it's coming from. And again, I can only give you examples from my own life. You take what I'm saying, you apply it into your life. But the point is that you have to know the love that's in you for your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your neighbors, whatever. It needs to be expressed in a certain way. It has to be expressed. If not, then the other side doesn't even know where you're coming from. And the benefit from that is even the times that you are upset or you disagree, it doesn't get interpreted as hate. It doesn't get interpreted as something negative. Rather, it says, okay, I know you still love me. You just disagree with me right now. Needless to say that this is like one of the best keys for a very good, healthy way to educate kids and to bring up kids to a point that they don't think their parents dislike them. They know, okay, the parents are educating them right now, but they don't hate them. So again, practically saying, you find somebody in your life that it can be 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 people that you're saying, okay, I love that person. How am I expressing that love to that person? And I'll give you a quick method, let's call it. And again, I can only share what I do. A few months ago, I went on one of my trips. And I decided to make myself, I always write notes, I always make everything, I put everything on paper. When you see it in front of your face, it's totally different. When you also write it, I don't like the clicking and the ticking. You write it, there's a certain energy that you're putting into the letters. You bring it into the world. So I wrote all sorts of things. I constantly do myself a self-assessment of where am I holding right now. With my relationship with my wife, with my relationship with my kids, with my spiritual growth, and am I making Hashem happy? I constantly make some type of a check like you, a cheshbon nefesh, but not exactly cheshbon nefesh I do every day. This is I make every couple months that I want to see how am I doing. Kind of like a business owner that every 3-4 months they want to see where's the business going. Is the business going the right way? Is there loss? Is there gains? Like every quarter you go to your financial advisor. I like doing it to my spiritual growth, and not only my spiritual growth, also how I conduct myself with the people around me. And I wrote down, I need to pay attention more to this, pay attention more to that. I mean, if somebody would find these notes, probably will find it very funny to write what I'm writing on myself, what I need to bump up a little bit. But one of the things that I wrote there, and I'm just telling you that as a way to practice, is that I wrote there that once a day I have to do something small that every one of my kids will feel and know, even if I'm gone for 2 weeks on a trip, that I love them with all my heart and I'll do anything for them. Doesn't matter what it is. A 3-year-old might get a lollipop, the 5-year-old might get 5 minutes to play, and the 9-year-old will get a completely different thing. But I wrote that, okay, and you know why I wrote that? Because if I wouldn't write it, it would work for the first week when I come back from the trip, and then I get busy again and I forget. So when I write it down like to-dos, so every couple days I look at my list, I forgot. I need to show my kids how much I love them. Because how I see it, my 5-year-old can think that I'm going every 2 months. Oh, my father doesn't love me. He keeps going away from home. She doesn't understand I'm going on a business trip or I'm going to give lectures. In her limited mind, it can be my father doesn't love me, so he's going away from home all the time. So you have to understand sometimes how the person in front of you, they don't read your mind. They don't know what's in your heart. They don't know your intention, and they don't know what's going on behind every little act that they do. Sometimes it's all about how you give over the information that the other person on the other side knows and feels that you love them. And you have so much love to so many other people, whether you realize that or not. This is another problem. That's what we talked about yesterday. Half of the relationships between husbands and wives are not working so well because one doesn't feel the other one loves them, and the person says, I don't even love that person. No, it's not correct. You have a lot of love for that person. Just happens to be that life is so chaotic that you don't feel right now that you love your spouse. But there's love there. If you got married and you're the other half, there is love there. Just need to know how to dig it out. The whole week we're concentrating on love. Today we want to concentrate on the art of love. How am I expressing my love? How am I showing my love? When is the time to give it? In what dose? Who do I need to give it? How and when? And needless to say that when you do that in the right way, in a very balanced way, that's why I said netzach. Netzach is to conduct it or to dimmer it whenever you need to, or to open and close the valve. Then the tikkun that I get for my nefesh, my own rectification for my nefesh, is done in such a thorough and deep way that emotionally and mentally and spiritually it's affecting me in a way that if I would understand that sometimes by giving my love to somebody else, it's a cure for my weakness of my nefesh. Mezal Hashem, we should merit bemet to become artists in love, to be able to give it over. And needless to say that we should put our mind to that. That will make our own personal life a much better personal life, and needless to say will affect the world in a completely different way, that we're just going to be givers and givers. רבי חנניה בן הקשיא אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.